Welcome to the Standard of Truth podcast, you guys, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. Today, I want to do something a little different because oftentimes people will reach out to me, whether it's on my website or they'll shoot me an email or on my live chat widget, and they have questions, right? Or they might have some concerns. And it's not that I'm ignoring people. It's just I get an overwhelming amount of people that reach out and everybody wants to talk. And I can't pick up the phone and talk to every single person that either has an issue with me or needs to see clarity about something. So I thought I would take time today to just address a particular comment that was sent to me relatively recently. They reached out to me on my website, and essentially they were like, you're really strong in the word, but I'm confused by your, how did they put it? They said they were confused by my support of former President Donald J. Trump. And so then they said, perhaps, I need to listen more before I continue. And so the rest of the message got cut off because they sent it as a live chat. But when I read it kind of made me chuckle a little bit, because the first thought that came to my mind was, would this person be confused if I supported the current president, Joe Biden? Like, the only kind of people that I notice tend to give me, like the face are the ones who don't believe that I'm allowed to have my own mind and to formulate my own thoughts and opinions. And so, it's not hard. Like, my support for Donald Trump, it's not really hard to figure out. If you've been listening to my content and you kind of get to know me, it's not hard to figure out why I plant my flag where I do. And so what I wanted to do was just take some time to address this comment and to, first of all, just explain that, one, Donald Trump is not my pastor, okay? I don't have any biblical obligation to hold Donald Trump to the standard of a pastor or an elder as outlined in the book of Titus or Timothy. Like, let's just be reasonable here. The reason why I say that is because you don't hold whoever you voted for to this standard that you're trying to hold me to. So let's just lay that out on the line. Me being solid in the word, it is what it is. But my support for Donald Trump, I am a believer living in these United States, and quite frankly, I don't get caught up in a person's personality. Like, so what? You don't like Trump because, he's mean old orange man. Well, for one, I'm born and raised in Bronx, New York. I am from New York. Okay. I've liked Donald Trump since I was 5. If you grew up in New York City and you went to Trump Tower, or you just understood the climate in which Donald Trump, the real estate mogul, did business, you didn't have issues with Donald Trump until somebody told you to have issues with Donald Trump. That's the media. And so I didn't vote for President Trump because of his personality. Now, first of all, Donald Trump's personality is actually a lot like my father's personality. My father had a larger than life personality. And some people say you are your father's child. And I probably am, but my dad's personality is just larger than life. He never met a stranger. He was always the life of the party. But also, if my dad felt a certain kind of way, he didn't hide how he felt. He just said what he said, and you knew exactly where he stood. He was a man's man. That's what I know. And so when Donald Trump, with all of his, narcissistic, braggadocious kind of personality, I get that. I don't have to like that about him, but I understand that about him because he's from Queens. Like, he's just that dude. But on a more serious note, I didn't vote for him because of his personality. I examined his entire policy platform, and I saw that his policies aligned with my biblical worldview. And I'm more than happy to defend those policies biblically if necessary, whether it's, his policy on immigration, on the border, or taxation, or medical freedom, or the economy. Like, you name the policy, I can defend why I believe the way that I do biblically. Now, while America is not Israel, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that it is good for a nation to have control over its borders, right? Like, it is good that you have control over your home. Like, your home has borders. It's called a front door or a back door or a garage or windows. And my question is, don't you monitor who comes in and out of your house, right? Like, I don't understand why people act so cerebral when it comes to politics. Like, all you have to do is think through your presuppositions logically, and you'll find that, okay, I'm probably holding this angst or animosity in my heart because the mainstream media told me that I am supposed to be angry. Like, especially like if you're a Black person, you're absolutely not allowed to like Donald Trump, and you're not allowed to voice your opinions that he was a good president and that he was good for this country. Why? Because you live in an echo chamber. The mainstream media told you how to think, and therefore you were like, well, this is how I'm supposed to think. And sadly, and I don't mean to be offensive, it's mostly the baby boomers and the silent generation who grew up trusting the media is who I have the most problems with, because they literally are so brainwashed that whatever they see on CNN or MSNBC or ABC or NBC, they actually believe it. Like, they don't fact check or critically examine what they're being fed. They just kind of take it in. And so this is why I have people who say, I like you when it comes to, your biblical convictions, but it just confuses me on the politics side. But I would encourage you, or I would say it like this. All you have to do, if you're a Christian as well, all you have to do is compare the DNC platform to the Republican Party platform. And anyone with a thinking brain can see that it's going to be hard to hold to a biblical worldview and support the Democratic Party's policies, right? You cannot hold those two in equal tension and say that Christ is Lord. First of all, when you go to the DNC's, their platform, they have like an 81-page document that spells out, this is our party, this is who we are, and this is what we represent. You're going to find it really hard to find something in there that doesn't violate your Christian convictions. We can start anywhere from abortion to their position on the border, to their position on ethnicity and race relations, from the fact that they don't believe in meritocracy and that hard work wins. They literally want everybody to believe that if someone else is doing better than you or has more than you, it must be due to some sort of inequity on the basis of your ethnicity. I'm sorry, I can't support that, right? I didn't grow up in an America where me being Black was a handicap. And therefore, I have to live my life as this eternal victim, and I need white people to do something for me and make the pathway for me just super smooth and easy and straight. No, I come from a people who know adversity and who knew how to thrive despite that adversity. And they stood tall with their head up high, and they loved this country. And they celebrated everything that this country was able to offer them. And they were living under real conditions of white supremacy and ethnic partiality. So I don't know why it confuses you that I am a political conservative. What else do you want me to be? Do you want me to be a liberal feminist? Like, how does that align with my biblical convictions as a Christian? Like, do you want me to be pro-LGBT? Like, how is that supposed to work? Do you want me to support critical race theory and to teach young Black boys and young Black girls that they are oppressed, and that people who don't look like them with lighter shade melanin are their oppressors? Is that what you want me to do? Do you want me to advocate that women should be allowed to murder their babies in the womb wholesale for any reason? Why? Because it's their body. Despite the fact that the body growing inside of them is not their body, but it's a different body with its own DNA, right? Like, you have me confused because I'm trying to understand, who would you have wanted me to support? Was I supposed to support Joe Biden? Like, no. And hear me clearly. I am not one of those pro-blackity blacks that believes that every presidential candidate or every political candidate needs to do something specifically for Black people. Why? Why don't I believe that? Because I don't believe that Black people have these inherently unique problems, like we're handicapped, that other Americans don't have. Black people are poor like other Americans who are poor because the economy sucks right now. But not only that, we have a morality problem in the Black community that the government cannot fix. Our problem is spiritual. Our problem stems from the lack of fathers in the home, the lack of two-parent households. The matriarchy is what has Black people behind the 8 ball. It is not white people. It is not white supremacy. It is not Donald Trump that has any impact in how I lead and shepherd and submit to my husband as unto the Lord. So when I get comments or emails or chats that say, you're strong in the word, but your support for Donald Trump confuses me, I don't know why you're confused. Donald Trump is not my pastor. I am not obligated biblically to hold him to the same standard that I would a pastor or an elder. The scriptures do not outline that as a believer, my duty is to make sure that the president or the congressman or the senator holds fast to the trustworthy word as taught. I'm not obligated to do that. And why would I? My concern is, since I live in America and I'm afforded the opportunity to vote and have a say in who represents me, I am going to support the politician whose platform, not whose personality, not whose hair, not how much money they have. I'm not interested in any of that. I want to know about your policies. What are your thoughts on foreign relations? What's your foreign policy position going to be? What are your thoughts on the economy? What are your thoughts on marriage and the family and our children and education and taxes? These are questions that matter to me. I'm not about to get caught up because Donald Trump is uncouth and makes mean tweets that make people feel bad and uncomfortable. Like, grow up. Like, I'm a whole grown woman. If somebody's words that I've never met from a tweet can disrupt and interrupt my life in such a way that I'm immobilized from just living and being and raising my children and loving and submitting to my husband, and like, you got bigger problems if he's impacting your everyday life in that kind of way. And then my other question would be, would you have had that same energy if I was an avid Joe Biden supporter? Like, would I be responding to this comment, and would we be having the same conversation? I would argue that we wouldn't, because the expectation would be, well, if she's Black, of course she's going to support Joe Biden. All Black people support Democrats. It doesn't matter what they believe and what they support. It's Democrats. And that you're supposed to be that. Well, you got me messed up. Like, I'm not that chick. I think for myself. I formulate my convictions based on how I am informed by God's word. And I also recognize that this fallen, sinful world will probably not have a presidential candidate that is a bona fide, born-again believer. I accept that. I mean, can you name a president that was? I don't know. But if that's your standard, then you need to sit out of the political process because you can't participate at all. I, on the other hand, I recognize the limitations of this fallen, sinful world, and I choose to participate in the political process because I'm focused on the policies. Because those policies impact me, those policies impact my business, and those policies impact my future progeny, my children and my children's children. That's why I support Donald J. Trump, because of the policies. And if you're confused and don't know what those policies are, I'm not going to do your homework for you. I need you to be impartial and do a little digging to figure out what did Trump accomplish in the 4 years that he served this country. And you'd be quite surprised that life was a whole lot better. A whole lot better for Christians and non-Christians alike under his presidency. So you guys, what do you think? What are your thoughts about everything that I've said? Are you confused that I am a conservative, or do you understand, her conservatism flows from her biblical worldview, not the other way around? Like, what do you want her to do? Be inconsistent? That's what it sounds like people want from me. And I don't hold these convictions because I want to be popular. I hold these convictions because I want to be found faithful. That's it. I don't know what else you guys want from me, but let me know what you think down in the comments. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Grace and peace.